Good Saturday evening, everyone. Welcome to Saturday Live with me, legendary Alex Cardinale. Welcome to one of my favorite shows that I get to host here on my YouTube channel, the legendary Alex Cardinale. This week on Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale, I have an action-packed show coming your way. Tonight's special guest is a dear friend of mine. He is an avid tropical fish keeper with a lot of knowledge about tropical fish. He is also a high school social studies teacher. Our guest today is Mr. Daryl Shorts. And Daryl and I will talk about tropical fish and teaching. My topics today include reasons why you should visit a zoo and social norms. Do I agree or disagree with them? Aqua Alex is going to be here to discuss what fish he wants to get next week. And Aqua Alex will host the final Palm Beach Zoo Animal Spotlight. Plus, Tampa Bay Buccaneers NFL Week 1 preview, 8 funny videos, Chef Alex makes chicken marsala, all that and more on today's show. Plus, an appearance by Liberty, the American Eagle, who will talk about America's best food, and an appearance by Tweety, the blue and gold macaw, who will go over what's currently trending on social media and Facebook memories from years past. So we've got a fun show coming your way tonight. Do you have questions you want me to answer? Post them in the comments. Do you have topics you want me to discuss? Post them in the comments. And as always, feel free to share your opinions on topics discussed on the show. With that being said, let's go ahead and get this action-packed show started right now. All right, so our opening segment is This Saturday in History. Today is Saturday, September 10th, the 253rd day of 2022. There are 112 days left in the year. Today's highlight in history. On September 10th, 1813, an American naval force commanded by Oliver Perry defeated the British in the Battle of Lake Erie during the War of 1812. Afterward, Perry sent the message, "We have met the enemy and they are ours." On this date, in 1960, Hurricane Donna, a dangerous Category 4 storm, eventually blamed for 364 deaths, struck the Florida Keys. In 1962, the U.S. Supreme Court ordered the University of Mississippi to admit James Meredith, a black student. In 1963, 20 black students entered Alabama public schools following a standoff between federal authorities and Governor George Wallace. On this day in 1979, 4 Puerto Rican nationalists imprisoned for a 1954 attack on the U.S. House of Representatives and a 1950 attempt on the life of President Harry Truman were freed from prison after being granted clemency by President Jimmy Carter. In 1987, Pope John Paul II arrived in Miami, Florida, where he was welcomed by President Ronald Reagan and First Lady Nancy Reagan as he began a 10-day tour of the United States. In 1998, President Clinton met with the members of his cabinet to apologize, ask forgiveness, and promise to improve as a person in the wake of the Monica Lewinsky scandal. On this day in 2005, Cavalier dogs and boatloads of forensic workers fawned out across New Orleans to collect the corpse left behind by Hurricane Katrina. Cleanup crews towed away abandoned cars and even began readying a hotel for reopening. On this day in 2015, New York State approved gradually raising the minimum wage for fast food workers to $15 an hour, the first time any state had set the minimum that high. In 2016, John Hinckley Jr., the man who tried to assassinate President Ronald Reagan in 1981, was released from a Washington mental hospital for good. Hinckley would be free from all court oversight in June 2022. 10 years ago, in 2012, on this day, an airstrike killed Al-Qaeda's #2 leader in Yemen, along with 6 others traveling with him in a breakthrough for U.S.-backed efforts to cripple the terror network's operations in the impoverished Arab nation. Chicago teachers began a 7-day strike, idling nearly 400,000 students in the nation's 3rd largest school district. Andy Murray became the first British man since 1936 to capture a Grand Slam title, beating defending champion Novak Djokovic. 5 years ago, after cutting a trail of destruction across the Caribbean, Hurricane Irma blew ashore on the Florida Keys as a Category 4 storm with winds of 130 miles per hour. It would destroy 1,200 homes and damage 3,000 others in the Keys. As Irma headed towards Georgia, Atlanta was under a tropical storm warning for the first time. As he flew home from Colombia, Pope Francis called on President Donald Trump to rethink his decision, ending a program protecting young immigrants from deportation. He said anyone who considers himself pro-life should keep families together. And 1 year ago, last year, Republican leaders threatened responses ranging from lawsuits to civil disobedience after President Joe Biden's aggressive push to require millions of American workers to get vaccinated against the coronavirus. New U.S. studies suggested that COVID 19 vaccines remained highly effective against hospitalizations and death, even when dealing with the extra contagious Delta variant. That is today in history. So, Brandy is saying hello to everybody. Brandy is my beagle. She's saying hi to you guys. Uh, sometime we'll have to get her on our show. Anyway, today's birthdays. There are a lot of baseball players, Major League Baseball players, that are celebrating a birthday today. Baseball Hall of Famer and MLB All-Star Randy Johnson is 59 years old. Major League Baseball All-Star first baseman Joey Votto is 39 years old. Singer Ashley Monroe is 36. MLB All-Star first baseman Paul Goldschmidt is 35 years old. Actor Chandelier Macy is 32. Actor Hannah Hodgson is 31. And actor Gabriel Bateman is 18 years old. I, legendary Alex Cardinale, would like to wish anyone that celebrated a birthday this past week or is celebrating a birthday today a happy and healthy birthday. I hope you had a great birthday and I hope you have a great year ahead. Anyone celebrating a birthday this upcoming week, happy birthday to you. I hope you have a great birthday as well. And that is this Saturday in history. So now we're going to dive into my very first topic. And before we get to our first topic today, and our first topic is going to be on reasons why you should visit a zoo near you, I'd like to inform everybody that as of this coming Wednesday, I will no longer be working at the Palm Beach Zoo gift shop. The reason being, I found a job that is much higher pay. I'll be getting paid more, and I'll have more opportunities to become even higher in management. And it was just too good to turn down. So I am now working at Sprouts as a lead cashier. I can't wait for that. It's going to be really fun. But my time at the Palm Beach Zoo gift shop was great. I enjoyed making new friends. I enjoyed seeing all the animals. It was a great experience for me nonetheless. So now let's talk about reasons why you should visit a zoo near you. If you call yourself an animal lover, then you definitely need to go to a zoo near you. One of the biggest reasons that you should visit a zoo is you get to meet, see, and learn about exotic animals. For example, you'll see some Bengal tigers. Tigers are a really cool animal that you hear about on TV, on YouTube, but until you see them in person, you just don't understand how great they are and how amazing they look. And tigers are going extinct in the wild, so we should respect them and go to zoos to see the conservation that goes into keeping animals like tigers. You could also take selfies at the zoo with some animals like flamingos and lorikeets. It's really cool to take a zoo selfie with an animal. You'll have a lot of fun at the zoo because you're seeing all sorts of animals from South America, Central America, Asia, and even the United States of America. Also, by going to the zoo, you're supporting the conservation of endangered species, like different types of monkeys, like sloths, like the Bengal tiger, and other animals that are endangered. And you get to take home animal gifts. Now, there's a lot of great gift shops inside zoos. So when you go to the zoo, you'll find tiger plush, lion plush, and other plush that you can take home and that will remind you of your visit to the zoo. And the final topic that I have for tonight's show is going to be about social norms. Do I agree or disagree with them, and why? So we're going to talk about that right now. Social norms. Do I agree or disagree, and why? Well, here are the social norms that I agree with. I agree that we should greet people when we see them. This makes them feel welcomed and this makes them feel like we care about them. I agree that we should say thank you for favors. If someone does something for us, we should reply with thank you. It shows our gratitude and our appreciation for what they have done. I agree that we should hold the door open for others because it's the right thing to do and it's considerate. We should offer to help someone carrying something heavy. I always do that. We should wait in line politely. There are some people that need to learn that because they're self centered, but I have no problem waiting in line politely. We should respect other people's personal space. I definitely am agreeing with that. I would never go into someone else's home and go through their fridge or anything like that. That's just totally disrespectful. We should dispose of our trash properly. I agree 100% with that. I see a lot of people in fast food restaurants leaving their trash around, expecting someone else to take care of it. They should throw their stuff away. It's their stuff. They should dispose of it properly. I also agree with this one, refraining from eating smelly foods in public. No one wants to smell corn or anything gross like that in public. So I agree 100%. Don't eat something that smells bad because it's going to ruin other people's appetites. I also agree with complimenting others on their appearance or achievements. That's a great way to get new friends and to hype somebody up, even if they're having a bad day. I also agree we should ask others about their day or interests to make new friends. We should also avoid gossip and rumors. Volunteering to help others in need is great. I also agree with saying I'm sorry when you've made a mistake. This shows that you're sincere about the mistake that you've made. I also agree with supporting others in their time of need. I agree with being honest and truthful with others at all times. And I also agree with treating others with kindness and respect regardless of their social status or background. Those are all the social norms that I agree with. Here are the few that I don't agree with. I don't agree with paying for goods or services with a smile. Why do I have to smile when I'm paying for something? Just be happy I'm spending my money at your store. I don't agree with participating in group activities because I'm a single person. I don't agree in showing interest in other people's lives and experiences unless they tell me about it. I'm not the type of person to go ask you about it unless I want to know. I also don't agree with taking your shoes off before walking into someone's house unless they have that tradition. I also don't agree with letting the elderly or pregnant people take your seat on a bus, especially after you paid for that seat. But that's just my personal opinion. So those are the social norms that I agree or disagree with. Now it's time for some fun tonight. It's time for our special guest, and I was really honored and excited to have him on our show. Enjoy the guest interview with my wonderful guest, Daryl Schwartz. I am super excited for this week's guest interview. I'm going to be having a wonderful friend of mine on the show today. He is a perfect fish keeper. He knows a lot about fish, and he made me more enthusiastic about the aquarium hobby. So, we're going to talk a little bit about tropical fish. but he's also a high school social studies teacher, and we'll talk about that as well. So our guest today is my dear friend Daryl Schwartz. Daryl, welcome to the show. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. I'm happy to have you on my show. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to be here today.
Oh, you're welcome.
You're a great friend of mine, and I'm happy to have you on my show.
I'm happy to be here and be on the show and share some thoughts with everybody.
That's awesome. I know back in July of last year, I interviewed you as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, my first question for you, how did you get into the aquarium hobby?
Well, originally got into the aquarium hobby. I have to go back to probably when I was 6, 7 years old. It'd probably be a very, very long time ago. But my mother owned a pet shop in Chicago called the Gilded Cage Pet Shop on Irving Park Road in Chicago. She had a fish, it was a typical, normal, old country style type pet shop with fish and birds and rabbits and chickens and literally everything in there. Monkeys back then, and dogs, of course, and cats and stuff. So, but she had fish, and I always was fascinated with the fish, and so she gave me a goldfish, and the goldfish was in a small tank, and it had a little, I remember, a brown spot on top, and of course I named him Tippy because he had a little tip on top color. So that was my entry in, was a goldfish, and then later on, probably around 16 years old, we moved to Florida. My mother was working as a sales manager at Doctor's Pet Center in Westland Mall in Hialeah. And I was about 13, 14, and I was, I had a couple small fish tanks and stuff. And so she got me a job, and I worked under the table because you couldn't get paid when you're around 13 years old. So I cleaned fish tanks and set them back up and stuff like that. And then I took my payout in trade, fish tanks and stuff like that. And ultimately, what really got me hooked into it at that time, that's even before I was getting paid, they had a show tank, a 55-gallon with a big Oscar in it. And I remember it was, I had accumulated some money based on pay and everything, and the owner gave me the tank because he wanted to move that out because he needed room for something else. So I got my first 55-gallon fish tank with a full-grown Oscar in it, and that hooked me for life. And his name was, by the way, Oscar. So that's how I got into the pet fish shop. While working there, I rose up eventually to a lead sales manager type position in there. I stayed in the pet shop for many years, but I ran the fish department, and I had, I think, up to 75 fish tanks at one time running, and I was responsible for maintaining them and maintaining the fish. And I knew how to break down and clean a tank, strip it down, and set it back up like in 15 minutes. So I got down to really good, be able to take them down, clean them, put them back into the system and everything. But I was responsible for everything. So that's where I learned it. And I guess from then on, it stuck with me, I've never grown up. I guess people say, what are you going to do when you grow up? I don't know yet. I'm still, I showed you a picture of my freezer the other day. It's got all fish food in there. So,
Nice. That must have been cool growing up as a pet store owner.
Mm-hmm. That was a lot of fun.
But
also dealing with the tragedies, in fish tanks. If anyone's ever worked in a pet shop, you get a shipment of fish in the bags, and then within days, fish die from all different things. So a lot of it's a lot of stress in there trying to keep them alive, keep them healthy, And so it taught me a lot, how to look at fish and how to read them and everything. So I guess that's what stuck with me to keep me successful today.
Nice. You have plans of opening another pet store?
No, I always, I know a few people in the area that have fish tank stores, mainly saltwater right now, and it was their hobby, so they have their huge hobby tank. They got a 600-gallon tank. That's their hobby tank in the store. And then they sell fish and they do help setups and stuff. So it's a possibility, but I think I like just sticking to the hobby now, not worrying about, losing my profits, with everybody, fish dying and stuff like that. So I'll stick to just the hobby.
Yeah, that's true. The hobby is more relaxful.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it like growing up working at pet shops?
It was kind of interesting. I think I got, learning how to deal with all the smells and the stenches and all the different things that go on, because I had to clean the reptile room and, the small animal rooms and the dog cages and stuff. So it wasn't as glamorous as what everybody would think, And if you think of just cleaning your own little fish tank, that's one thing. But if you have 75 fish tanks and 20 fish tanks have to be cleaned and broken down and reset up, before the fish come in, a lot of work, but it was something I enjoyed. the fish department sales outnumbered the dogs and all the other departments. I was really excited because, you know, if you do a good job, and you notice that probably today, Alex, when you look at pet shops today or fish stores, if a fish store does a great job with managing their fish, they get a lot of customers, and the customers will continue to come back. You do a lousy job, you have lousy fish, lousy setups, you're never going to maintain the customers or the sales. And so that was one of the things I learned about being successful in there. So, and I took that on with the rest of my life, you know, how to sell. I sold a, you know, someone came in, wanted to buy a small little fish. They needed a fish tank, and they walked out with spending $300-400, you know, on a tank setup, you know. So I learned how to become a good salesperson, which did launch my careers later on in sales. So.
That's awesome. I know you introduced me to a great fish store called Aquatic and Exotic. I really love that store.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's more of a mom and pop store. You don't see those too often anymore. Everything's become. I won't mention any other names, but you know the three big ones, all the different franchise or corporate stores that are out there that all look alike and everything. But there's very few stores that we call the true mom and pop stores that have 40, 50, 100 tanks, you know, and actually maintain a good collection of fish.
Yeah, I can't wait for next Saturday. We're going to go back there. I can't wait to see what I'm going to get.
Yeah, and then I'm going to get in trouble because I'll bring something home with where are you going to put it?
You know, I don't have to worry about that anymore.
I'll blame Alex. I'll say Alex gave it to me. It was a gift. Get you in trouble.
What kind of fish are you currently keeping?
I've got a variety. Actually, I'm in my fish room right now. Actually, right behind it, my desk now actually has fish tanks on it, which I never thought I would have. I have everything from a female beta sorority, which is the smallest, you know, and successfully they've all got along. I know that's a big argument in the fish industry, in the fish aquatic community right now, that you don't put female betas together. I have 4 betas in a 5-gallon fluval tank, and they all get along great, you know, and they chase each other, but nobody nips each other, and they do great. I have king betas. I've got a couple king betas, and then I have saltwater fish, especially with clownfish and puffers, and then I move on to my freshwater fish. I have a pond with goldfish and koi outside, and then I have my what I call my big tanks. I have several 55 gallons. One's a Severum tank now with an arowana growing out of it. The other 55 has Severums and silver dollars and some parrotfish and some eels in there now because I'm trying to grow some eels out, tire track eels. And then the big tank, my big tank, of course, is the with the, as you know, I think I have all your red hooks now. Yeah. I had one, and my wife goes, "How do you end up with like 8 or 9 of them?" I said, because we grew it. I have a huge school of red hooks, which is amazing. I have of course, a red tail catfish that's eating me out of house and home right now. The vulture catfish in there, and a ornate bircher. I always say bircher in there. So, and then a black arowana, black-finned arowana in there. So that's the big tank. And then have a bunch of smaller saltwater tanks and some freshwater tanks where we'll grow out stuff. So it's so I have 14 tanks going together right now in the house. So nice. I can't add it.
You have some great fish. You're an amazing fish keeper. And I'm glad that I rehome my fish to you because you take significant care of your fish, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you. I think one of the biggest things, which I'm going to give a comment or thought, and that's for anybody that listens to really think through, and the pet shops, of course, do a horrible job on this, but even a lot of people that enter the fish, if they're listening and they're new fish hobbyists, when you look at a fish or you buy a fish, you got to realize, ultimately, look at how big they're going to grow. And it's something that a lot of people make a mistake. Oh, look at that cute little red tail catfish, or look at that cute little red hook, you know, or look at, you see things in the pet shop, but you don't realize that's going to be 14, 15, 18, 20, 40, 50 inches long. And if you can't accommodate its grow out, eventually you'll kill it because its body won't grow enough and the organs will eventually destroy themselves within the body of the fish. So I think that somehow educating people and also the pet shops, because I know they don't want to lose sales, but understanding how big a fish can really grow, I think that becomes very, very important to kind of understand. And, and then you'll have an amazing hobby. You'll enjoy your fish. They'll live a long time. Like you have yours, Alex, you're going to have fish there 10, 15, 20 years in life, because you got them in appropriate size fish tanks.
Very true. I appreciate that you send photos and videos of the fish that I rehomed you. I really appreciate that. They're in great hands.
Well, thank you. Well, I want you to see how good they're doing and how they're growing, and how happy they are.
So for those of you that don't know, I rehomed most of my fish to my friend Daryl, and they're in a great home. That includes my red hooks, the oronate, and a couple others.
Mm-hmm. And the bass, which has his own tank now with a turtle.
So he's getting huge at peacock bass.
Yes.
I like them. They just have a hungry appetite.
Yeah, hungry. And then they hit a certain size, they become very aggressive. Unless you school them, just like you have your tiger barbs, you really have to maintain a school of peacock bass for them to check on each other. If they're one or two, then they become aggressive towards other fish in the tanks.
True, kind of like me, hungry and aggressive.
Yes. Can you fit it in your mouth, and will it taste good, right?
Just kidding.
I know, it's the same thing here.
So my next question is kind of a personal question for me. What would you say about me as a fish keeper?
I think you're a very good fish keeper, and you do. I want to tell, and I'm going to share this because I know sometimes people comment, well, look at the color of his water in this tank, because I know people pick on you sometimes on that. You have, and I have to say for Alex, I am totally shocked and amazed, Alex, at your fish and how big and fast they grow. You do an amazing job. Some of your fish have doubled in size over my fish, and I don't know how you do it, unless you're injecting them with growing food, growing hormones. But your fish are amazing. They're all healthy and they're very happy. And I think that's one of the things I've learned over the years too, is my fish tanks don't look perfect. Some of my tanks have algae growing up on the walls and stuff like that, and the way the tanks may look. But the fish are happy, they're healthy, and I think that's what counts. And you do an amazing job with your fish, and I do have to compliment you on that.
Thank you very much. That means a lot to me. Yeah, I get a lot of the people that heckle me about why my water is so cloudy and stuff, but they don't understand water that's crystal clear is not necessarily a good thing.
Correct. Yeah. If you go to a river, the rivers aren't crystal clear. The rivers are going to be a brown tint to the waters. It's more our human nature to want to see a perfectly crystal clear tank. Without a speck of algae on the wall or something on a glass. But that's not the real nature, Mother Nature.
True. I mean, if you do water changes every day, it'll probably be crystal clear, but is it really beneficial for the fish?
Mm-hmm. I have one fish tank, which is a 55 right now, and it has not been cleaned in 10 years.
Wow.
Almost 10 years. But the gravel hasn't been touched, and I won't touch it because that'll be an ammonia blow up, but it's got enough of perfect aminos and ammonia, the positive stuff eating everything in the bottom in the gravel bed, and the fish are perfectly healthy in there. That's the one I'm growing out of Silver Awana in right now with the Severums.
True. I'm very fortunate to have a great fish keeping friend like you. I haven't had one in so many years.
No, it's good. It's fun to have because you can bounce things off each other, and we all go through days. We have a tragedy. We lose a fish. Something's not working right. Heck, after all those years, I had an algae bloom a couple weeks ago, and I sent that to you. I'm like, oh my God, how could this happen? My wife goes, your tank's turning green. What do you mean it's turning green? I'm at work. The water's turning green. So it happens to the best of us.
True. I enjoy our fish store trips. Those are fun.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't done that in over a decade since our last trip.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say is your favorite fish?
My favorite fish, I'm going to have to do, I would categorize two different ones. My favorite fish is my Oscar, and I haven't had one in a long time. Well, when I acquired the 150-gallon tank, she came with the tank, and she has become so personal. She comes up to me, she yells at me, opening her mouth. I open the glass, she comes right up, and almost I can put my head to her head. She put my hand in, she'll swim around the hand, wanting to pet it, It's just, and she's a gentle giant. She won't touch anything, she won't hurt anything, and she constantly looks at herself and says, look how beautiful I am, She constantly looks at her reflection. And then I would have to really say it would be the red hooks. It's amazing to see, which not too many people have an opportunity to have 8 red hooks in a school, and full grown, and watching them swim together in unison and talking to each other. When it's feeding time, they almost look like piranha because I'll throw the green algae tablets in it right at the end after I do the main feeding, and they'll all go at it almost like a piranha, But it's just it's amazing to see a school of fish be able to swim in a big tank like that and be healthy. I think those are probably would be my 2 best favorites.
Yeah, Oscars are a great fish. I love red hooks too, but I got my wide bars that get pretty big, so I decided to keep them.
My red tail is probably my other favorite, but I'm figuring out that I've already been thinking it's going to have to come out of the 150 soon, and probably have to go into the pond, the above ground pond all set up, But
Nice.
the only thing I have to worry about the red red tail. I love him, but he's a pig at eating. He looks like a gulper catfish. At the end of the night, he's like, I'm going to eat more, and then he sits all day exhausted trying to digest his food. But he doesn't bother anybody. Doesn't want to eat anybody, and that's you got to keep him full of food so he doesn't eat anybody.
True. I'm kind of jealous of you. I've always wanted a black arowana, but you got one.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one day I'll get one.
Yeah, and the arowanas are also my favorites. I think almost all my monsters are my favorites. I guess I would put that. Everybody in that big tank are my favorites. Differently. Even the vulture catfish. They're the way they act and the way they'll swim around. And one thing I read about vulture catfish, by the way, never feed them by hand, because I was reading a few articles that they will rip your fingers apart because they have a full set of teeth that you do not see embedded.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And people have gotten the tips of their fingers ripped off when they go to put a piece of fish down there for the vulture to grab out of their hands. The red tail's fine; he doesn't have any teeth, but the vulture, they do have teeth.
Imagine it'd be quite painful.
Yes, people have said very painful bites.
So I know you're a teacher, right?
Yes, I teach at William T. Dwyer High School. I teach it. I'm certified in the social studies history area, and I teach mainly all social studies courses.
Nice. Social studies is one of my favorite subjects.
Yeah, I teach the more difficult ones. I teach Holocaust Honors, which is a tough course to teach, multicultural studies, Latin American studies, and U.S. history. So
how did you become a teacher?
I was in the corporate world. I made a lot of money. I traveled around. I was in upper management and banking for many, many years. One is, which could be a story another day, is I got involved with about your age, deciding, my wife and I, whether we were going to have children or not. There was children dying overseas in the middle of a revolution in Romania, and we went underground and rescued children. So I got involved with rescuing children. My son was adopted from Romania. We brought him back when we did the first wave of rescues, and my daughter from the Dominican Republic. So getting involved with helping children around the world. I would disappear for 4 to 6 months underground, be in those countries helping work out, and then come back to work. And I did not like the grind of the everyday corporate world anymore. And I said, what do I want to do? What is my plan B in life? And I always loved children. I said, you know what? I think I want to become a teacher. And so I decided to backtrack, get some additional education on top of my bachelor's degree, and became a teacher. And I've never looked back. I love teaching. I think what draws me into teaching is to be able to affect and change children's lives. And so I like to teach in high school, because that is pretty well your last stop before adulthood, to be able to get them to think and be good citizens and think wisely and listen to what people say and understand what people say, and get out there and vote and do the right things. And so that impact I think I can have on students later in life, will benefit not only our community, but our country.
That's a great story. I never knew that you rescued kids. That's really commendable.
Yeah, I'll have to tell you a story on that one day, the story in Romania.
That'd be great for our next interview. So what do you like about teaching?
I like about teaching, I like to pass on information to students, watching them learn, watching the light bulbs go off in their heads, seeing them get excited, and knowing that I'm making a change. I think I can affect a change. And that's what really teaching is, a calling. It's not for everyone. Not everybody would be comfortable teaching, being in front of 30, 35 students sometimes at a time, for 2 hours, keeping them excited, enthused, keeping them, motivated to complete a task, learning task that you're giving them. It takes a lot of work. And so sometimes you'll see me at night. I'm exhausted when I'll tell you, it's one of those days, but I love teaching. And I think it's a chance to inspire children, And so I think that's what most teachers, if you ask them that question, is to inspire children and affect change in the future for the better for our country.
True. So there's probably no fights in your high school, right?
There's always a fight or two, So I think that happens in every high school, or somebody pulls a fire alarm, those kind of things happen. The last few
Yeah.
times it's been breaking sinks off. That's the new thing in high school. Break a sink off and let the water flow, you know?
Wow. Yeah, when I was in high school, there was a fight every day.
Yeah. So not too many. We're pretty good. We haven't had so far no fight this year.
That's good. Almost WWE style.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you like about social studies?
What I like about social studies, I think it's important. If you don't understand history and you don't understand what happened in history, it most definitely or almost guaranteed will repeat itself. So, and I do this with my students today. If you want to bitch and complain about today and not understand why things are working or not working, you have to look at history and understand where everything has come to and how it's evolved to where we are today. If you want to affect change and make changes for the good, you have to see how things have happened in the past, you know? And so I think it's very important to understand that. And so, and being very truthful and honest as you teach history, teach it exactly what it is, literally, and then students can make they're young adults, they can make decisions and what is right, what's wrong, how can we do things better in the future, And I've had students bump into me 5-10 years later and go, oh my God, Mr. Schwartz, the things you taught me, I didn't pay as much attention to it, but wow, it just clicked. I said, wow, Mr. Schwartz told me this. Mr. Schwartz told me to think like this, And they said, wow, thank you. You really made an impact on my life. And when you hear that, that really is something when you have students come up to you 5-10 years later and say those things.
Nice. Yes, social studies was my favorite in high school. Luckily, I had American United States history, which I really loved.
Mm-hmm.
I loved learning about the Civil War and President Abraham Lincoln and Andrew Johnson and stuff.
Yeah, we just finished that. We just finished Reconstruction. So
nice. My favorite president is probably Andrew Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
he was hated just like Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm. Well, the one issue he has, which and I won't get too hard in history, but the one thing that's taken him down now historically is the Trail of Tears. Especially what happened to Native Americans. And the way they drove them out of the South into Oklahoma. And so I think that is the worst part of his history now.
True. So, what would your advice be to high school seniors this year?
I think for high school seniors, one is do good in school, of course, learn as much as you can, but also focus on the future. You want to do things right because first of all, enjoy high school. This is your last year. When you leave high school, you are an adult. And as Alex knows and I know, it's totally different as an adult, You may go to college, you may go right into the work world, but at the end of the day, you have to figure out what are you going to do? Where are you going to live? How are you going to pay for things? And you've got to have a job, and all the little things that click in, the responsibilities of adulthood will kick in. So enjoy yourself as a senior, as still being almost still an older child, because you can still enjoy that year, but also realize the progression as you go out of high school, become an adult, and how you're going to focus. And try to make plans, make short-term plans and long-term plans, what you want to do, what you want to accomplish, and stick to those. And the biggest thing I can tell anybody that's in high school right now, you really can accomplish anything you want to do if you put your mind to it. You have to work hard. And if you do that, you will accomplish it. You have to have patience. And the one word I'll put into on top of that is what I tell everybody is, and it comes out from one of the authors, Maxwell, and he's a preacher that's written many, many books. One of the books he wrote was called Failing Forward, John Maxwell. And what that means is in life, you really never fail at anything. It's a learning lesson to do better in the future. And so thinking that, so a lot of times, especially coming out of high school, you'll trip, things will go wrong. Oh my God, I'm a failure. This isn't working. That's not working. Realize that everything we do is a life learning lesson. And so you learn from that, and by learning from that, you can improve and do better going forward. And so it's called failing forward. We really never fail in life. That's kind of my advice for kids. Be a good citizen. Listen to whoever's making a speech, what they're saying in a speech, because what they're saying, they mean what they're going to say. Be careful. Our democracy is as fragile as within 2 to 5 years, we could eliminate the democracy in our country. It's who you vote for, how you vote for. It's very important. to participate, be an active citizen, and speak up. And I think those are just important things to do. Don't sit back. Do not, and let everybody else make decisions for you.
Very true. Very good advice. It's hard to believe that it's been almost 10 years since I graduated.
Mm-hmm.
Next year will mark 10 years.
You'll have an anniversary coming up at school, 10-year anniversary.
I know. I graduated in Massachusetts, though, but I'm living a good life here in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting old.
Hey, don't worry. You'll have gray hair or be bald soon. Don't worry. I used to dye my hair up to about 2 years ago, and then I stopped dyeing it because you look at some of my pictures, it's got black hair, Even on my driver's license, I don't dye it anymore.
So would you ever put a fish tank in your classroom?
I did actually at one time. The school actually, when I was at Royal Palm Beach High School, they used to have a fish tank in the principal's area when you walked into the school, and they got dilapidated and they kind of didn't want to use it anymore. So I brought it upstairs, cleaned it up, reset it back up, and went fishing one day, and we caught a bunch of baby tilapia when they were little baby fry, probably not even an eighth of an inch or quarter of an inch. I dropped 100 little fry in there and watched them all grow, And I was what the goal was actually to start teaching the kids about what is aquaponics, learning about nature and how things grow, putting some natural plants to grow in there, and then slowly watching the fish grow. So it was really a cool process, and then I was able to put automatic feeders in there for the holidays, So, when I wouldn't be there, when school would be closed. But it worked really well. Didn't have any issues with anything.
That sounds cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think any of my classes had fish tanks, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my current setup it doesn't really have a really good way to set up a tank in there now, So, and then the other thing, I'd be careful of what happens is an electrical failure. You're not there on break, and the filters don't come back on, and you come back and there's a cesspool in the room, with that tank,
True.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to thank you so much for being here today. I had a great time with you.
Oh, thank you. I had a great time too.
Do you have anything else you'd like to talk about?
I think the big thing, my only thing, which would probably be something and it's going to start coming up in shows and stuff, is my only critical thing is my critical concern of our hobby is everything is, but how expensive things are starting to get, I think I'm seeing people exit and give up their tanks, and stuff because it's becoming very expensive. A fluvial filter or an aquaclear filter or even a Marineland filter, just the boxes on the outside, just to clean them. If you had to clean the filter cartridges once a week, it might cost you $3 a filter cartridge, just one cartridge to pull out, which might have been 50 cents before. So my concern is where the industry is going, because if it's not careful, it's gonna shock itself in the future, with people being able to afford or be in the hobby. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Alex. But that is my critical concern. The joy of owning a fish tank is one thing, to maintain them, and the expenses they're starting to be, coming into the industry is very scary.
I agree 100% with you on that. One thing I've noticed, at least here in the South Florida area, is that the fish prices are good, but if you go to buy an aquarium equipment, they cost a lot more than the fich sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that.
I mean, you buy three filter cartridges from Aquaclear, will cost you $15, $15, $20. And usually once a week you have to pull, my one tank, I put a filter every 3 days because it really filters good and pulls out all the dirt, But, and I'm finding different ways. There's different ways to come up with different ideas to put other types of media in there, and maintain the tanks that way. But I think that's just the biggest part, is the industry being self-conscious of what it's doing with its equipment, and maintaining things so it preserves the hobby, that it continues to grow. I think that's the biggest part, because the hobby, people start it, you want it to be affordable and you want it to be fun. And I think so that's the big part there. And it's a great hobby. I love it. I have fish that are 15 years old. I have, I know my fish. I know how they look. I know how they act, if something's not right, so they're just like my children. And so it's amazing when you start to get fish at that stage, so just my final thoughts,
Very true. I think as the pandemic goes down, prices will start to go down too.
Yeah, I hope so. You know.
I hope so too, because
Yeah, trust me, I'm between Amazon and eBay and Pet Supermarket and different ones. I watch what's online and I crisscross and compare and see who's got a sale, buy one, get something at 50% off. You know, so I'm constantly trying to, you know, and I stock up when I can when stuff's on sale. You know, because you want to be able to afford the hobby. You know.
very
So,
true.
and the only other thing I would say for the hobbyist too is I think one of the things I've learned is I've never used chemical testing in my tanks ever. I've never had a test kit my entire life. And I think a lot of times people rely too much on test kits sometimes. And so by looking at your fish and looking at your water, you can know your quality a lot. And so I think that's just something from experience. But, you know, my fish have thrived. You know, since you've known me, I've not lost one fish, so in maintaining the tanks and stuff. So I think we've become too reliant on chemicals and other things versus doing, looking at things and knowing how things should look and how they should be, the tank should be behaving, if that makes sense, you know?
It does. It's very true. I agree with you on that. Sometimes the test can be wrong, and you might think your water's bad, but if nothing wrong, it's not really accurate all the time.
If fish are not eating today, they're a little more lethargic. They look good. It might be time for a water change. You know, that's kind of the test kit may or may not reveal it. You know, those kind of things.
Very true. I had a blast today. Thank you so much for being a guest on our show today.
You're welcome, and I'll send you more stuff. You feel free to share any of my videos, on the fish and stuff. Also, more than welcome to any of the stuff I send you.
Will do. I definitely want to have you on again to talk more about fish. You're very knowledgeable.
Well, thank you. And then the other piece is I learn every day. We learn every day. I learned something the other day before we part, and it's funny because I bought it, I never used it before. I had a UV filter, and I bought it one time, never used it, and when the 150s start to have an algae bloom, I realized doing 2 water changes, which you read a lot of times, water changes don't do any good. The water clears up, and the next day, boom, it's green again, And so cutting the light down, you can't cut the light down too much because then you kill all the plants, and it throws it into another cycle. So by putting the UV filter on, really cleared up the water. And they're not that expensive. It was a sun filter for like $29. I had bought a while back, stuck it in a cabinet, forgot about it, but it really worked. And so I do have to compliment that. I never believed in it, but we learn every day.
I'll probably get one then.
Yeah, it really worked. You've seen the tank. I've shown you how clear it is,
Yeah, it looks nice now.
The only change was the UV filter, and it's just an inside little filter that circulates and runs the water, and runs it through the UV light.
Now that I got a better paying job, we'll get one.
There you go. So other than that, that's about it for the day. That was my lesson learned the last 2 weeks, was the UV filters really work.
Perfect. I can't wait for next Saturday when we go to Aquatics and Exotics.
Yeah, and maybe we'll go to Badfish too. We'll see if we got time.
That'll be fun.
That's a really cool little fish shop. The lady that owns it,
Yeah, that's where I got my arowana from.
Yeah, she does a great job with her stuff too. So.
Thank you so much for the great interview. I hope you have a great Saturday.
Well, thank you. Have a great Saturday too. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you later. Have a good day.
Thanks, you too. Bye.
I would like to say thank you to Daryl for the amazing interview. It was a great time. As always, I learned a lot about tropical fish, and his story of becoming a teacher is inspirational. Thank you, Daryl, for being an amazing guest. And while we're on the subject of tropical fish, it's time for Aqua Alex to make an appearance here on Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale. Happy Saturday, Fish Keeper here, and I have a very fun topic for you this week. So next Saturday, my fish keeping friend Daryl and I are going to one of my favorite fish stores in South Florida. Daryl and I are going to Aquatic and Exotic. Now, Aquatic and Exotic is located in Stuart, Florida, and they have a whole selection of tropical fish. They have angelfish and discus, koi and goldfish, South and Central American cichlids, African cichlids, monster fish, community fish, and even saltwater. It's a store that is packed with tropical fish, and it's the way it should be. When you go to a fish store, it should be filled with tropical fish to choose from, and that's why Aquatic and Exotic is one of my favorite fish stores. So I can't wait to go back there next Saturday. So make sure you tune into next Saturday's Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale, because I'm going to give you a fish store tour of Aquatic and Exotic, and I'm going to show you what new fish I end up getting. So if you want to check out Aquatic and Exotic, stay tuned, because at the end of this segment, I'm going to have an infomercial playing. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about some fish species that I want to get and I may get next week. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to talk about some fish that I want for my community tank and a few fish that I'm considering for my 125-gallon aquarium. We'll start with the community aquarium, which is behind me. Now, this tank behind me is a grow out / community tank, because I'm growing out the catfish that are in there and the arowana that is in there. So it's predominantly South American at the moment. I've got the silver arowana growing out. I've got some threadfin acara that are growing out, the angelfish. The only other fish in there that are not South American are the tiger barbs, my sun cats, and my Asian upside down catfish. So I was thinking of getting some fish with character for the bottom of the aquarium, and I thought, it's been years since I've kept this fish, and I've never had them since I moved to Florida. And that is this fish with unique characteristics and personality. That is the clown loach. Now, the clown loach can grow up to a foot, but they are relatively slow growers. So they can live in the 55-gallon, and then when I upgrade to a 75 or a 90-gallon in December, they will thrive in there as well. Now, clown loaches down here in Florida are a little bit expensive. Pay about $20 for a 2-incher, but I could at least get 4, 5, or 6 of them, and they'll be happy in a school, and they'll eat the bloodworms and flakes that are in my aquarium when I feed the other fish. Another fish that I'm considering getting is another angelfish. Right now I have 2 panda angels and a koi angel, but I'd like to get a marble angel and maybe a wild-caught Peru angel. That would be nice. You never know if they have wild-caught angels. Or another red koi angel. That would be pretty cool. There is a specific catfish I'd like to have in a school. And the thought has come across that while I would like Corydoras, I overlooked this catfish. I had them years ago and really enjoyed them. And that is the Pimelotus pictus cat. These guys are very active catfish. They're loved by fish keepers all around the world, and they're going to be about 6 inches, which means they'll do well in a 75 or 90 gallon when I upgrade these guys. So I'll probably get 4 or 5 Pimelotus pictus. They're a very gorgeous catfish. I'd also like to get some geophagus. Now, I had 2 geophagus that my friend Daryl got me, but unfortunately they passed away for reasons unknown. But I would like to get some geophagus to go along with my threadfin acara, whether it's Santa Perca leacustica or Santa Perca Damien or Geophagus abalis. We'll see what the fish store has. Geophagus are very gorgeous fish. I'd like to get some green terrors to grow out for the 125-gallon aquarium, so we should see if they have green terrors. I like Waru cichlids. Waru are a very nice fish. Some fish keepers consider them to be plain, boring-looking fish, but not in my opinion. They're like a brown discus, and I really like the looks of Waru. Some people say they're hard to keep, but that is not true. In my personal opinion, I have kept Waru for years successfully, and I've never had an issue with them. Also, it's been a while since I've had an eel. I think it would be quite cool to get a fire eel, we should see what they have in stock. I mean, if it's big enough, it can go in the 125, or if it's small, I can grow it out in my 55-gallon community tank. And the one fish I had in mind for my 125-gallon aquarium is a fish I had, but it disappeared for some reason. Maybe it died and got picked off. That is a catfish known as the Lima shovelnose. Very, very gorgeous cat. It's related to the tiger shovelnose, but it stays significantly smaller, and it can live probably its whole life in a 125 because the Lima shovelnose only grows to be about 18 inches, sometimes even less. And if they have two or more, I could probably get a couple of them because they will school with each other. Overall, I'm very excited, and I can't wait to see what fish I do end up getting. I think it would be a fun time. I love aquatic and exotic, and I'm looking forward to it. So tune in next Saturday here on Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale, because next Saturday I'm going to give you a tour of aquatic and exotic, and I'm going to show off the new fish that I get. So I can't wait to go there with my friend Daryl. So if you want to check out aquatic and exotic, stay tuned. Coming up right now is a promo for their fish store. I, Aqua Alex, will be right back later on in the show to host the final Palm Beach Zoo Animal Spotlight as I talk about the false red Terra, aka Mayan cichlid. We will be right back right after this, and I'll be back to host the final Palm Beach Zoo Animal Spotlight.
You need to check out Aquatic and Exotic in Stuart, Florida. Aquatic and Exotic is home to quality freshwater and saltwater tropical fish. You will find African cichlids, South and Central American cichlids, goldfish and koi, and exotic fish. We also supply aquarium supplies like filters and heaters, aquariums, and lights. We also have quality fish food brands. Aquatic and Exotic is open Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sunday 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Questions? Give us a call at 772-781-4046. Stop on by and check us out. 1525 A.C.E. Lockhart Street, Stuart, Florida 34994.
Thank you, Aqua Alex, for your first appearance on this week's episode of Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale. Who's ready for some NFL football? The National Football League Week 1 is already underway as the Bills defeated the Rams this Thursday night. But Week 1 concludes tomorrow as all the other NFL teams play their first game. And I am a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. And each and every week here on Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale, I'm going to recap the previous week's game and predict the next game. But unfortunately, it's the first week of the regular season, so all I could do today is predict our Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. So let's get right to our Tampa Bay Buccaneers segment. All right, so for the second year in a row, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be taking on the Dallas Cowboys to kick off the 2022 regular season. A second straight opening weekend meeting with the Cowboys awaits Tampa Bay. This time they'll be taking on the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas as the two highest scoring teams from 2021 square off, with both teams featuring shuffled offense lines and aggressive defenses. Almost exactly a year ago, the Dallas Cowboys came to Tampa for the NFL's kickoff game, featuring the defending Super Bowl champions on their home turf. That primetime battle was billed in many places, including this one, as a clash of two potentially explosive offenses. It did not disappoint. And last year, the Buccaneers won a wild game, 31-29 over the Cowboys, capped by a vintage Tom Brady game-winning drive. So this year, once again, the Buccaneers and Cowboys meet in a primetime spotlight on opening weekend. Tom Brady versus Dak Prescott is a marquee matchup that demands a stage like Sunday Night Football in Week 1. So it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Sunday, September 11th, tomorrow at 8:20 p.m. Eastern. It'll be taking place from AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, and you can catch this game on NBC. Sunday night football, Dallas Cowboys versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, in the comments, I want you to tell me who you think is going to win tomorrow. Is it my Buccaneers or is it the Dallas Cowboys? Well, I have gone ahead and made my predictions, and I am predicting that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, for the second year in a row, will defeat the Cowboys to start the regular season. Here is the score that I am predicting. I am predicting the Buccaneers and Cowboys will have another close game. But in the end, the Buccaneers will get the better of the Cowboys. And I think the Buccaneers will win 28-21. And I think Tom Brady will remain undefeated against the Dallas Cowboys. I, for one, am looking forward to this game. And I can't wait to see the Buccaneers beat the Cowboys 28-21. And next week here on Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale, I will recap NFL Week 1 and the game between the Bucs and the Cowboys, as well as preview Week 2. So I can't wait to see the Bucs and Cowboys tomorrow on NBC, 8:20 p.m. Eastern. All right, so I'm sure you worked up a hunger so far. If you've been watching our show, I'm sure you're pretty hungry by now. So this week, I'm going to go ahead and give you a recipe for restaurant quality chicken marsala. Now you're probably asking yourself, what is chicken marsala? Well, chicken marsala is an Italian dish made with a sweet wine that comes from Italy. Chicken marsala consists of breaded chicken. It consists of mushrooms, onions, and scallions, and marsala wine and chicken broth. It is really simple to make. Here are the ingredients for my chicken marsala. You are going to need a pound of boneless, skinless chicken breast, pounded thinly. You're going to need some flour seasoned with salt and pepper and your favorite seasoning. You're going to need a skillet with about 4 tablespoons or so of olive oil or regular cooking oil. You're going to need a package of chopped and sliced baby bella mushrooms. You could use more mushrooms if you like. You'll need 1 small onion diced. You'll need a scallion diced. And you'll need about 2 cups of marsala wine, a cup of chicken broth, a stick of butter, and additional flour to create a roux that'll thicken our sauce. So what you're going to do is pound your chicken thin. You're then going to dredge it in the flour, and then you're going to put it in the hot skillet and saute it for 3 minutes per side. Remove from the pan after 6 minutes, and don't worry if it's not fully cooked, it'll finish cooking in the sauce. You're then going to add all your chopped vegetables, the onions, mushrooms, and scallions, and you're going to let them cook for about 5 to 6 minutes. Then you're going to add the butter that's been dipped in flour, the stick of butter, You'll probably dip that in about a tablespoon or two of flour. Add that to the vegetables, let it melt. Then add in your marsala wine, let that reduce for a few minutes. Then add in your chicken broth, and then return the chicken to the pan and let that sauce thicken and let the chicken finish cooking. And you are ready to serve. Now, chicken marsala is traditionally served with linguine or spaghetti. So if you love pasta like I do, pasta is a great choice. You could also serve it with vegetables and rice and mashed potatoes. It really is such a versatile dish and a really delicious dish. So hopefully you'll use my chicken marsala recipe. Next week I will step back into the kitchen and I will show you how to make M&M cookies because I'll have some more free time than I did this week. So next week you'll see me make some M&M cookies. All right, are you ready for some laughs? It is now time for my favorite part of Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale. It's time for our funny videos. And this week I have 8 funny videos to share with you. The first video again consists of a macaw, and this owner is trying to make a lot of money from this macaw. Let's check it out.
I have this parrot here. It's mating season, and he can't hold down a stiffy for nothing. So, do you guys have anything that can like boost his testosterone and stop him from going soft?
Let me go ask really quick. I'll go check. Hi.
Daddy needs his money. These eggs sell for like 10 grand a pop.
Oh my god.
So, I'm trying to get him to bust nuts quick. You know what I'm saying? Come on, you know what I'm saying.
We don't have any testosterone boosting.
That's a funny video. All right, the next video I have for you is how managers sometimes act and when they themselves get disciplined by their area manager. I saw this video on TikTok and thought it was funny, so let's share it.
Well, Martin, hello. I didn't know you were coming in today. You didn't tell me. You were in the area, so you just thought you'd pop in. Yes, you're welcome anytime. Absolutely welcome. Welcome. What can I do for you? You need to speak to me. Yeah, I've got 5 minutes. What's up, Martin? You had to look on the CCTV and you caught me drinking vodka on the shop floor. Okay, yeah, I can explain that. It actually wasn't vodka. It was just water. Yeah, I just put it in a vodka bottle just so I've got something to bring some water in to work with. Do you know what I mean? You've caught me 4 times and you saw me stumbling everywhere. I looked drunk on the video. I had an injury that day. Yeah, I really hurt my ankle. It's actually still healing, yeah. So that's why I'm in the office. Yeah, so I was like stumbling everywhere. It was really bad. Yeah. And you saw me hit a customer. That wasn't a customer. That was one of my sister's old friends from a long time ago. And I didn't like fight her. We like play fight, and we do it all the time. Yeah. You need to look at the accounts. Okay. Well, I'll have to speak to Derek. Yeah, I can call Derek. He's the accountant. He's not in today, but he can email me over the files. Is that okay? Yeah. Beep 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 boop 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 beep 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 boop 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 boop. Hello, Derek. Hello. Boop. Sorry, he didn't answer. Yeah. Oh, he's not available. Yeah, I'll get him to email you over the files. You think I should come into head office? Yeah, I would love to come into head office and speak to the CEO. Yeah. You want me to go home now? Why? Okay. Okay, Martin, it's fine. I'll go. Okay, fine. You're a crap area manager. Anyway.
So our next video is a road rage video that I also saw on TikTok. I'll let you guys either laugh or cringe at it.
Fuck you, punk ass, racist ass bitch. Say what you had to say on here.
Wow, that's crazy. These white people's crazy as fuck.
Come on over here.
And what are you gonna do if I go over there?
What?
What the fuck are you gonna do if I go over there?
Fucking cut your goddamn dick off. Fucking asshole. Fuck you. Learn how to fucking drive.
I was driving the right fucking way. You were the one doing all the weird shit.
Come on over here.
Do something.
Come on.
Get out. Do something.
Fucking pussy.
I'm not no fucking pussy. Get the fuck out of the car and do something, bitch.
Yeah. Fuck off, you goddamn foreign asshole.
Is that all you got to say, you white motherfucker? You wish you had.
Crazy road rage, right? Very, very crazy. So the next video is actually funny, and imagine being in this situation.
Thank you for calling Applebee's. This is Chelsea. Can I help you?
Hey, this is really embarrassing, but I'm stuck in the bathroom and there's no toilet paper.
Oh my gosh. Alright, I'll send somebody in there to give you some, okay?
Please hurry, it's starting to itch.
Oh my gosh.
What's the name for the order?
It's Alec Big Cock.
Yeah, okay. I'll just call you once it's ready. Order for I like big cock?
That was a funny one.
I bought this Woody from you guys, but there's a problem with it. It's not what it seems. Watch what happens when I click it.
This town ain't big enough for your mama's ass.
That's not one of his catchphrases from the movie. I missed the fourth one. Like,
that's really weird.
There's a snake in my pants. Why don't you try and fish it out?
You hearing this?
Look at this
talking
thing.
dirty stuff.
Hey, Jesse, why don't I show you how I got the name Woody? Woo!
Well, it was only, how much did you pay for it?
I paid like $50 for this thing.
That's another funny one.
Hey, yo, I'm here for the physical. Okay, drop your pants. Oh, damn. Oh, that's pretty straightforward. Okay. Can you,
I don't see that as necessary.
Just please turn around.
Okay,
right?
fine. Hurry up. Come on. I don't got all day.
Okay.
Okay, let's see what we're working with here. Try not to get hard, Dave.
Dave? My name's not Dave.
No, mine is.
What? Yo, what the f?
That's crazy. All right, so the next video I have is a couple of 300-pounders, maybe 400-pounders, fighting over pizza, but watch what happens after they fight.
Damn. Don't make me break your motherfucking hand.
I got to it first.
Reach for my pizza again and you gonna be the first to the ER too.
You wasn't even thinking about it.
You know that's a lie. The day I don't think about food, that'll be the day you can blow my fucking brains out.
How about we just split it?
The only thing that's gonna get split is your head. If you don't get your hand off my pizza.
We gotta come with an agreement. Cause I'm willing to die over this pizza.
That's it? I'm willing to die, come back to life, die again, just for a bite of that pizza. We are not the same.
It's my pizza.
No, it's my pizza because I put majority of the money to it.
It's still my pizza.
No, it's not.
What the
fuck?
What?
That's funny. And our last funny video actually kind of creates a truth to a myth out there. Cops do love pizza. Check this out.
Good morning, sir.
Hi, good morning. It's okay if I film you, sir? I'm just kind of nervous around police officers.
No, sir, that's quite all right. The reason I'm stopping you is for speeding, sir.
No, sir.
Were you aware you're going that fast?
No, sir, I didn't. Now, let me ask you something,
yes, sir.
officer. Are you aware that today's National Donut Day?
I'm sorry, sir?
Are you aware it's National Donut Day?
No, sir, I'm not.
Yes, sir. Today is National Donut Day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
So, is there anything we can do? Warning? Anything, sir?
No, sir. No, sir. We strictly enforce the speeding rules out here.
Yes, sir. I understand.
May I see your license, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No problem. Hang on just 1 second. Yeah, here you you go, sir. Will this work for you? I can't seem to find my license, but... You have a good day.
That would be me as a driver. I'd give a donut to get out of a speeding ticket. So those are all the funny videos that I have for you this week. I can't wait to see what funny videos I will react to next Saturday on our next episode of Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale. So we've talked about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, my favorite NFL team. Now it's time to talk about my favorite Major League Baseball team, the New York Yankees. All right, so let's go over the New York Yankees last week. So the Yankees beat the Rays last Sunday 2-1. Then this past Monday, the Yankees beat the Twins 5-2. Tuesday, September 6th, they got postponed. Then on Wednesday, September 7th, the Yankees had a doubleheader against the Twins. And on game one, the Yankees beat the Twins 5-4. And in game two, the Yankees dominated the Twins 7-1. And then on September 8th, the Twins beat the Yankees 4-3. Yesterday on September 9th, the Rays beat the Yankees 4-2. And earlier today, the Yankees dominated the Tampa Bay Rays 10-3. So the Yankees won a couple of games and lost a couple of games this past week. Now, tomorrow, the Yankees finish their series with the Rays, and hopefully the Yankees can win tomorrow's game to win the series. The Yankees have Monday off, and then the Yankees have a 2-game series taking on the Boston Red Sox at Fenway Park. Then the Yankees have this Thursday off, and next weekend, the Yankees take on the Milwaukee Brewers from Friday the 16th to Sunday the 18th. So the Yankees should do pretty well. I think the Yankees have a good chance of beating both the Red Sox and the Brewers next week. We should find out what the Yankees' record for this upcoming week is next Saturday. Aqua Alex here, and I'm hosting the final Palm Beach Zoo Animal Spotlight. Why is this the final one? Well, I am no longer working at the Palm Beach Zoo, and I, Aqua Alex, am getting my own segment that will air each and every Saturday night here on Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale. The name of that segment is Aqua Alex's Fish of the Weekend, and I'm going to talk about a particular fish each Saturday night on Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale. And it all starts next Saturday, September 17th, 2022, as I talk about the threadfin acara or the threadfin geophagus. Anyway, let's end the Palm Beach Zoo Animal Spotlight with a bang. And I'm going to talk about an invasive fish you will find at the Palm Beach Cafe in the broad-snouted caimans exhibit. It's a cichlid that has invaded southern Florida, and you'll find it living in the Everglades, Miami, West Palm Beach, Lake Worth, Boynton Beach, all over southern Florida. It is called the Mayan cichlid, and it's also known as the false red terror. It's nowhere near as beautiful as a true red terror, which is known as the Fieste. So let's learn about the Mayan cichlid. Pictured there is a Mayan cichlid. Now, the Mayan cichlid is found in Middle America. It is native to the Atlantic slope of tropical Mesoamerica, ranging from eastern Mexico southward to Nicaragua. It was first recorded from Everglades National Park, Florida in 1983 and is now a common non-indigenous fish in South Florida. The Mayan cichlid inhabits freshwater marshes, mangrove swamps, lakes, rivers, rocky shorelines, lagoons, estuaries, and coastal islands. Adults prefer coastal lagoons and rivers and may survive in marine conditions. It can be found in oxygen-rich areas near submerged vegetation and over muddy substrates. It is capable of surviving in extreme hypothermia. This is because it is an oxygen conformer, becoming much less active in hypoxic water and even surviving virtual anoxia for up to 2 hours. Unusually, this fish has been recorded in some cenotes in the Yucatan Peninsula. Now, the Mayan cichlid can reach 16 inches in length. In its native range, the Mayan cichlid is a popular food fish. People hunt it and eat it because they say it's a delicious fish. The Mayan cichlid diet includes plant matter, smaller fish, algae, detritus, snails, crustaceans, and insects. It is not a true red terror, and aquarium stores should not be selling it as a red terror because it is a Mayan cichlid. It is not a red terror. It's a Mayan cichlid. The true red terror comes from South America and is much more beautiful. The Mayan cichlid is a more ugly and more aggressive cichlid. This is what a true red terror, aka a Fieste, looks like. And I am a proud owner of a Fieste, a beautiful true red terror. All right, I'm Aqua Alex, and I want to thank legendary Alex Cardinale for allowing me to host the final Palm Beach Zoo Animal Spotlight. I will see you next Saturday in this time slot as I host my inaugural Aqua Alex's Fish of the Weekend. Have a great rest of your Saturday and a great rest of your weekend, fish keepers. Thank you, Aqua Alex, for hosting the final Palm Beach Zoo Animal Spotlight. What a great show we've had so far. Next week, a lot of great things are in store. So let's find out what's in store next week. And then we'll conclude this week's show with our last 3 fun segments.
Next Saturday, September 17th, 2022, it's another action-packed Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale. A new segment hosted by Aqua Alex will make its debut. Next week's special guest of honor will be tropical fish keeper and Canadian Christian minister David Morton. David and legendary Alex will discuss tropical fish, what life is like in Canada, and David's work as a minister. Chef Alex turns on the ovens and whips out the KitchenAid stand mixer to make some delicious M&M cookies. Aqua Alex will make an appearance to give a tour of aquatic and exotic fish store in Stuart, Florida and show off his new fish. Plus, he'll debut his new segment on Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale. Learn about the threadfin Acara cichlid next week. All that and more live next Saturday, September 17th, 2022 at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on YouTube channel The Legendary Alex Cardinale.
That's right, action-packed show next week. Now it's time to welcome in my dear friend, Tweety, the blue and gold macaw. So here is what's trending currently on Twitter. Queen Elizabeth. Now, unfortunately, this past week, Queen Elizabeth passed away. And the reason Queen Elizabeth is trending right now on Twitter is because the royal family announces details for the state funeral for Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth lived a fruitful life. She died at 96 years old. I think it's a pretty long life to live. And she was royalty, so she had a great life. UFC 279 is trending. Diaz versus Ferguson is currently trending right now. Al Franken is trending after his appearance on CNN. SpaceX is trending. Marcus Freeman, Marshall Shock, number 8 Notre Dame, 26-21, making Marcus Freeman the first fighting Irish coach to lose his first 3 games. That's not good. And also trending right now is Jordan Addison. Jordan Addison goes all the way with the 75-yard touchdown. So he scored a massive touchdown there. Let's see if there is anything else trending right now. UK versus UF, Kentucky versus Florida Gators. That's always a very popular sports rivalry for college football. And Mike Trout has homered in 6 consecutive games. That is what's currently trending on Twitter right now. So Tweety wants to introduce a new segment to Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale, and that's where we look back at some of my most memorable Facebook posts over the years. So we're going to start that today, and we're going to share our screen so that we can look at some of the Facebook posts that I've had over the years. So let's check that out. Let's make sure it's on. All right, let's see. Is it added to the screen yet? There we go. All right, so here is our Facebook memories. So last year, I promoted my 20-year 9/11 anniversary, which is a sad event, one of the worst events in American history. And then last year, I announced that this year was going to start off with a bang because I had an awesome interview with Kevin from Tangled Up in Cichlids. Last year, the Bucks beat the Cowboys 31-29, and then I promoted Buccaneers. I've had these delicious red velvet donuts from Duffy's. I promoted the Buccaneers again. I announced the 6-year anniversary for my fish show. I had an interview, Great Raw in 2018, and I watched Don't Freeze in 2016. So a lot of great stuff happened on this day on Facebook. So a great, cool little to add to our segment with Tweety. And Tweety the Blue and Gold Macaw wants to remind everybody to be mindful what you post on Twitter because it could come back to bite you at the end. Tweety looks forward to seeing you guys next week. All right, so now it's time for the American Address hosted by Liberty and I. And today we are going to be talking about the best American foods, and we're going to continue from last week. So today, these are the best American foods Liberty, the American Eagle, and I are going to talk about. Of course, cheeseburgers. There's nothing more classic in America than a cheeseburger. Pizza is a great American food, and pizza was actually brought here by my ancestors, the Italians. Prime rib, nothing better than a great prime rib. Chocolate cake is a great American food. Bread pudding and apple crisp. Those are all amazing, amazing foods. So Liberty says next week we'll have some more great American foods for you and to enjoy America. So thank you, Liberty, for being here today. That was an amazing segment. All right, it's time for our final part of the show, and I'm going to leave you with some words of wisdom. So here are some quotes that I want you guys to remember and to take away from today's show. You always pass failure on the way to success. No one is perfect. That's why pencils have erasers. Winning doesn't always mean being first. Winning means you're doing better than you've done before. You're braver than you believe, and stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. Positive thinking will let you do everything better than negative thinking will. Those are all amazing quotes and words of wisdom to live by. Well, I would like to say thank you to everybody that watched today's episode of Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale. I was checking my stats during our guest interview and a couple times throughout the show, and this is the highest viewed live stream. A lot of people tuned in during the live stream, and I am forever grateful for that. So hopefully you enjoyed today's show. If you're catching the replay of today's show, thank you so much for tuning in. I'd like to say thank you to my guest, Daryl, for being an amazing guest and providing us with a great interview. It was an honor and a pleasure, and I can't wait to have you back here on the show. With that in mind, thank you everybody for tuning in to today's show. If you enjoyed today's show, please hit that like button and please share today's show on your social media. I will see you next week for another action-packed episode of Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale. Have a great rest of your Saturday. Have a great rest of your weekend. And take care, everybody. Legendary Alex Cardinale saying have a great Saturday night. And stay legendary, everybody.
Next Saturday, September 17, 2022, it's another action-packed Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale. A new segment hosted by A.C.E. Alex will make its debut. Next week's special guest of honor will be tropical fish keeper and Canadian Christian minister David Morton. David and legendary Alex will discuss tropical fish, what life is like in Canada, and David's work as a minister. Chef Alex turns on the ovens and whips out the KitchenAid stand mixer to make some delicious M&M cookies. A.C.E. Alex will make an appearance to give a tour of aquatic and exotic fish store in Stuart, Florida and show off his new fish. Plus, he'll debut his new segment on Saturday Live with legendary Alex Cardinale. Learn about the threadfin Acara cichlid next week. All that and more live next Saturday, September 17, 2022 at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on YouTube channel The Legendary Alex Cardinale.